Anjali, Potts and I have traveled with Anu and Bob halfway around the world to reach the little village of Mahadanapuram, the home of my dad and his ancestors. It is therefore a very special place. A part of me, and therefore you, belongs here. Anjali, I remember my first time here 60 years ago. Then I came here with my parents. It had taken us 3 days to get here from Bombay by a hot, dusty and crowded train. And by a smoky bus, and by a slow ox cart on bumpy gravel roads. We arrived late then, and we have arrived late now. And at the temple for Krishna, the Brahmins had finished their evening prayers. And we see our rebuilt home, Revati. We celebrate Anu and Bob's first entry here as a couple with an arati. And it is time to sleep. Life in the village starts early then and now. Next morning, we wake up before sunrise to the cry of the spinach vendor. Water splashes and brooms clean the front of every house, and then a column is drawn. It is a daily ritual. Anu and Bob catch on. She sweeps and he draws. It is the first time ever for a son-in-law, Indian or American, to do this chore in the village. A few days later, Suja, your mom's cousin, did the same task. She could have given Bob a few tips. Jaya Jaya Karuna Phe Shri Mahadeva Shambho Karacharana Kritam. The milkman arrives by bike with milk fresh from a water buffalo. In their backyard, some still milk the family cow and deliver it by foot. Soon, we get to see an unusual sight. A man in a trance dancing with a shoulder bow called Kavadi. This is his way of appealing to God's graces. Our village of Brahmins is still just a single street with rows of houses on either side. But the stone pillars in the middle of the street bearing kerosene lamps are gone because electrical power has arrived. Then villagers drew their water from a public well. Now there is a hand pump. and even running water in homes fed by an overhead tank. An elder walks over to the temple to pray. It is a Brahmin obligation to pray at sunrise, noon, and at sunset. In his day, breakfast was just a scoop of leftover rice soaked overnight in water and mixed with yogurt. Today though, we eat idlis and dosas with coffee. Next to the temple is a village tank for bathing. It is here that I learned how to swim from my dad and from some female cousins who tied their saris around my waist before they threw me into the water. And beyond the irrigation reservoir sits Maruthuamalai, the hill of medicinal herbs. The myth prevails that its breezes protect the villagers from disease. It is an emerald green landscape of rice paddy, coconut palms, and banana orchards. These goats' droppings are fertilizers. And as for ducks, they get rid of pests. Of course, we Brahmins do not see these animals as food. Our diet is rice. It is balanced with fresh produce from the farmers' market along the highway, which is, to this day, open only on Tuesday and Friday mornings. The place still overflows with vegetables and spices, crowds and free enterprise. Some of these vendors have been here for generations. Though English does not work here, Bob and Anu try. We need to shop here every market day as we still do not have freezers and fridges for storage. After shopping, we walk back past the public school and we see village kids awaiting the morning bell. In the village itself, some children await rides to their private schools in neighboring towns. In the past, it was very different. Anjali, though he was the son of a Brahmin priest, my dad had to give up the tradition of learning Hindu scriptures. At that time, learning English, math and Malayalam got you a job. But since this village had no school then, he walked to the nearest town every day for this new type of education. The main meal of the day in the village is usually at noon. Men and children eat first while women serve. One sits cross-legged on the floor and eats with bare fingers of banana leaves. same vegetarian fare of rice, sauces and spiced vegetables and yogurt in every house on the street. No meat, fish or fowl. After food, it is time for a siesta. The street is deserted. Life stands still until 3 in the afternoon. Some villagers have TVs to watch and phones to call with. Or for the price of a short walk, even browse the internet. Anjali, while others are sleeping, let us tour our home. The design of our rebuilt home, though, is still the same as others on the street. Just a very long box with rooms, one after the other, from front to back. My dad redid this home in 1967. Then, the porch was an open platform, a place to talk or rest for anyone. Now it is shielded behind bars to restrict entry. My dad's favorite refuge, an easy chair, brings back memories. Then the house had low doorways. We had to stoop in humility just to get through. Now they are much taller. The first room is now a sitting room by day and not so private bedroom at night. Anu and Bob slept here. Behind this is a large hall, a place to celebrate family events, like the one for Potts for her first pregnancy with your mom. Once its ceilings and beams were too low. Now they are high enough to mount ceiling fans. At night, its floor still serves as a bed for many. On one side, there is a little altar for prayers. To its right is a dark storage room. It still holds brass and silverware, money and sleeping rolls. It was in this next room that my dad and I dined, while my mom cooked and served from the kitchen beside it. In those days, she cooked with firewood or kerosene stoves. Now we do it with a gas range. An old well still stands in the paved yard where we wash our clothes and clean cookware. It is here that we bathe under open skies, pouring water on ourselves from buckets. Now we have dug a borewell for running water. Next are two open sheds intended to shelter a couple of milk cows. And between the two is the toilet. It is in Western style. And finally, there is my favorite backyard. The primitive toilet at its end is gone. And so has my terror of marching to it in the dark of the night with just a flashlight. During the day, I used to play here. These palms planted by my father bore young coconuts full of tasty milk. And here is where I first had the joy of eating yummy soft palm nuts. Now this backyard is a mess, waiting to be fixed. Then this upstairs bedroom was used for storing harvested rice. Now it is the only private bedroom in the house. It opens out into a terrace where once Potts and I slept under the stars. It is about 3 in the afternoon. and vendors ply today's wares. Pots gives up old brass for shiny new kitchenware. And the milkman is back. We enjoy afternoon coffee pre-mixed with hot buffalo milk and sugar, aerated by pouring. It surpasses latte from Starbucks. And the kids are back from school in vehicles unseen in the past. Cousin Pichandi takes us outside the village to shop for groceries. Once, we had to travel by bus or ox cart to neighboring towns to get the same stuff. Once, this Ramaya Konar, a farmer of great integrity, took care of our home and rice fields. But just like my parents, he's gone. Now his grandson Nathan does that work for us. He lives outside the village with his wife and daughter. He farms too, but unlike his grandfather, he has improved machinery. The sun begins to set and Bob wears a veshti, the appropriate formal wear for the temple. Today we get our chance to join the prayers. And at the end of it, all of us will take to the street and chant. So ends another day at the village. So Anjali, this is life here, from dawn to dusk. But how was it like in olden times? Who can I ask? I approached the stone gazebo where, once, I used to spend hours reading fiction and science. Two elders are talking. Maybe they have some answers for me. They say that in the 18th century, this area was ruled by King Martandavarma, who became famous for defeating Dutch colonialists. Remnants of one of their forts can still be seen at Vattakotai, just 5 kilometers away from the village. One of the elders gives me a copied royal decree in Tamil. It states that this king in 1751 AD donated this entire village to a group of 18 Brahmins. Only the first names of these Brahmins are listed. One of them must be our ancestor, but which one? All that I know are the names of 3 generations of ancestors before me. I have them from some rituals in which it is a Brahmin practice to invoke them. But no clues to earlier generations. No records of births, weddings and deaths. As cremation is the norm, there are no tombstones to read. These elders tell me that the original group called Dhanapramani lived beyond the 12 down the street. Did our home have walls of mud and thatched roofs from palm leaves? Our present home then must be a later settlement. That group also worshipped at an old temple for Ganesha a kilometer away from here. So today's temple for Krishna and all the others must be recent additions. My quest is incomplete because it was time for us to return to Canada. The day before we left was the last day of November. That morning, an elephant visited us and blessed those who dared by laying its trunk softly on their heads. A small fee was passed on to the Mahout. And the village prepared for its annual lamp celebration called Kartikai. In every home, brass oil lamps were cleaned and polished. And as the sun set, hundreds of lamps were lit with prayers to the gods. When the moon rose, the street lit up in all its old glory. Inside homes, we prayed. Younger villagers sought the blessings of elders, and kids celebrated with fireworks. That evening, we ate puri, a caramelized puffed rice, and appam, a sweet muffin, special snacks for the occasion. We prayed with the Brahmins at the temple one last time and then took to the street and chanted. and the villagers followed us to the temple for a view of the well-adorned Krishna. That day was an unforgettable one for me and Pops. Anu and Bob missed it as they had already left for the US. They also missed seeing cousins Ravi and Suja, who arrived later. Before he left, Bob sat on our steps to make his notes. I was sure that our village had really touched them both. 60 years ago, I came here as a kid and realized that I belong here. The village knows us, our lineage, and its hazy history of 250 years. But my origins are not totally unknown. Every time I bow before my elders and gods, I recite my lineage in Sanskrit thus. I, Sri Kameshwaran, the descendant of the 5 great sages, Bhargava, Chavana, Apnavana, Avurva and Jamadagni of the Srivatsa lineage, bow before you and seek your blessings. It won't be long before I am gone too. But I hope our home and village lives on for you to visit and feel its presence in your own life.
Devat Pashabdena